This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 658, How to Get Rich, the One Required Skill, Part 1, by Nick True of mappedoutmoney.com. And I am your host and narrator, Dan. I am here every weekday, and I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. And before we get into it, I want to remind you that we actually have 4 other podcasts here in our network, and you can subscribe to those as well. We cover personal development and productivity, health and fitness, as well as business, relationships, and much more. Simply search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this show to find all of them. For now, let's get right to our post as we optimize your life. How to Get Rich, the One Required Skill, Part 1, by Nick True of mappedoutmoney.com. Most people believe that certain things in life are preset. In other words, you were born a certain way, and that determines the outcome of your life. It's really sad, too, because this type of thinking really limits people. When interviewing one person for my blog, I asked her what some of her future financial goals were, and she said, "Well, it's not like I'll ever be financially free or whatever, but I'd like to at least get out of debt." And that really upset me. Of course, you're never going to be financially free if you already believe that it's impossible. But I have good news. There is one single factor that determines whether or not you will be wealthy, gain financial freedom, and achieve your future goals. It's not being born into a wealthy family. It has nothing to do with your annual income, and it doesn't include choosing the best investment. Here it is. Be self-driven. That's it. That's the trick. The amount of self-motivation and determination you have directly impacts your financial future. For the purposes of this post, I'm including 3 things inside of self-driven. 1, self-control and willpower. 2, self-determination and drive. And 3, work ethic. These 3 things together help drive a person to succeed, and without them, you'll have a slim chance of actually getting where you want to go. Let me show you how. Why self-motivation matters. Hint, no one else cares. No one cares more about your financial future than you do. Not your mom or dad, not your boss or your coworkers. Your financial advisor doesn't even care as much as you. No one cares. And that's why you need to be driven. Having financial success requires determination to save money, spend less than you earn, and work hard to increase your income. You've got to be extremely dedicated and stick to it when times get tough. It's not going to be easy. No one ever said it was. But being able to drive yourself is literally the one skill that will put you ahead even if you have nothing else. But don't take it from me. This is true in other areas as well. Josh Linker says that grit and determination are the things he looks for most in aspiring entrepreneurs before investing in their companies. A research study conducted in the International Journal of Behavioral Nutrition and Physical Activity found that when people set weight loss goals based on things that enhance internal motivation, as suggested by self-determination theory, they are much more likely to actually lose weight and keep it off. The bottom line is that when people can connect their goals, whether financial or not, to specific outcomes, they can maintain a higher sense of self-motivation. These people are much more likely to actually achieve those goals. And if you don't make this connection, no one else is going to do it for you. That's why having self-drive matters. The link between the self-determination and savings. When it comes to retiring wealthy, the number one contributing factor is how much you save. Seems like common sense, but it's counterintuitive for most of us. We like to think that wealth means choosing the right investment or increasing your salary. And while those things are helpful, it's not the number one contributing factor. Savings rate is. But in order to actually have a high savings rate, you've got to be self-driven. Again, no one else is going to save for you. You've got to have the wherewithal to spend less than you earn and save the difference, week after week, month after month, year after year. If you don't have enough self-discipline to stick to a good budget, then you at least have to be driven enough to set up an automation that builds wealth for you. If you don't have it, you've lost. Literally, unless your parents are gazillionaires, self-determination is extremely important. Even if you have a high-paying job or a large inheritance, or an impressive degree, without willpower, you're through. And I don't mean that you won't survive and you'll be homeless and on the streets. I just mean that you won't be able to do the things you dream of doing. You won't be working a job you really love, traveling places you want to see, or spending your time how you want. If you don't believe me, look at these people. There's an article linked in this post with 10 stories of people winning the lottery and going broke within just a few years. According to MarketWatch, 1/3 of Americans who receive an inheritance blow it. And even people who make over $100,000 a year are often broke because they lack self-discipline. All of these people lacked self-discipline and drive to move forward. Earning lots of money, winning the lottery, or getting an inheritance may make someone initially wealthy, but it doesn't guarantee lasting success. Unfortunately, if you don't have this one single skill, you're likely not going to reach the financial future you dream of. It's just a fact. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled How to Get Rich, the One Required Skill by Nick True of mapped-out-money.com. And it is a bit of a longer post, so I'm going to finish up the rest for you tomorrow. And before we go today, if you haven't already done so, please check out our other podcasts. We narrate a lot more blogs for you to help you optimize your life, and to find all of them, just search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this, and be sure to click subscribe. And that'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for being here as always and being a subscriber to this show. I will be back tomorrow to finish up this post with part 2, so I will see you there where your optimal life awaits.